Hi, ChatEDU fans. I'm Cam Adia, executive producer of ChatEDU. Matt and Liz need your help. They're pitching a live episode of ChatEDU at South by Southwest EDU, one of the biggest stages for education innovation. Liz is also pitching a workshop on personal interest projects. To get selected, they need your votes. The South by Southwest EDU panel picker is now open, and every vote will help get them closer to the big stage. Scan the QR codes or click the links in the show notes and vote today. Voting ends August 24th, so please vote now and share this announcement with your friends.
This episode of ChatEDU is sponsored by the National Center for Next Generation Manufacturing, helping students and educators build workforce-ready skills through innovation. You can find out more at nextgenmfg.org. Liz.
Matt, it's a big day.
It is a big day.
We have upgraded.
Yeah. So we are now, if you join us on Spotify or YouTube, we are now in our new studio, which is really our old studio redone.
Yes. And we switched sides of the room.
We did.
Yes.
How are you feeling about that?
Okay.
Yeah, I feel great.
It's great.
There's nice pictures of your family behind you.
And
nice
yours
pictures.
behind.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We have the ChatEDU, the AI and Education podcast sticker right next to us. And if you are watching on one of those channels, there's actually 3 cameras going. So here, let's each look at a camera. Oh, it's very interesting.
Do you know who popularized the 3-camera shot?
I don't.
Well, of course, I was talking to my parents, and my dad instantly said that it was the I Love Lucy show, Desilu Productions.
No kidding.
They did not start it, but that is where it was popularized.
That's fantastic.
Well, fun fact for you this morning.
There you go. So listen, this didn't just happen overnight, and Liz and I did not paint and decorate and take care of everything. So a lot of appreciation for the facilities team here. So Tim and Rick, who kind of just made this whole thing look just great. Certainly thanks to Andre and Justin, who produced the podcast, to Cameron, who got all the stuff together. Probably that guy, Jonathan, too, because
we should thank him.
He's been a champion of this work all along. So we are really appreciative, and we look forward to seeing where this goes from here.
Yes, I'm very excited.
Fantastic. So speaking of big announcements, ChatGPT 5 came out.
I know. If you are anywhere in this AI world, you certainly have heard about it in the last few days.
Yeah, so my first impression was interesting. I was traveling, big shocker, and so I wasn't like really doing stuff with the phone, but I was talking to my ChatGPT advanced voice model. Let me pop it up. Hey, how's it going?
I'm doing well, thanks. How about you?
In your communications with me, what do I value?
You value straightforward and honest communication. You appreciate responses that are direct and don't sugarcoat things. Is there anything specific you'd like to focus on?
Liz, is there anything, how do I feel about M-dashes and emojis?
Yeah, ask her.
You prefer not to use M-dashes and favor commas and periods instead. You also avoid using emojis and embedded graphics in your communications.
Excellent, thank you. So Liz, what was weird is that for the first couple days that GPT-5 was out, that little riff started automatically. Yeah. So I just say, hey, how's it going? It's going, and the AI, I'm not going to say she because that's anthropomorphizing it. The AI system would say, it's going great. I know that you prefer straightforward communication, no M-dashes and no emojis, like flawlessly. I was doing big groups. I was demoing it. I was like, hey, how's it going? Oh, good. You prefer no M-dashes. I'm like, this is a really weird start to a conversation.
Yes.
And what's funny is that there's quite a bit more memory going on in general. There's a thing called long memory bio that you can choose to have it remember stuff. And so I said, hey, can you stop talking about that right up front? Because it makes me look a little obsessive and weird.
Now, is it doing a better job of not putting those things when you're writing?
No, not at all.
Not at all.
Actually, I haven't seen any emojis.
Okay.
Plenty of M-dashes.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's Achilles' heel. I cannot generate content without generating M-dashes.
Well, as we're talking about the M-dash, McSweeney's had a great article that I found the other day and sent to you immediately. And so maybe I can just read a little bit.
Yeah, please tell us.
Yeah. So this was I think it's titled the M-dash responds to the AI allegations.
Ooh.
So here's what the M-dash has to say to you. I would like to address the recent slander circulating on social media, in editorial Slack channels, and in the margins of otherwise decent Substack newsletters.
Oh.
Specifically, the baseless, libelous accusation that my usage is a telltale sign of artificial intelligence. You think I showed up with ChatGPT? Mary Shelley used me gratuitously. Dickinson? Obsessed. David Foster Wallace built a temple of footnotes in my name. I am not some sleek, futuristic glyph. I am the battered, coffee-stained backbone of writerly panic.
Wow.
The gasping pause where a thought should have ended, but simply could not. Yeah, want to hear a little more?
Sure.
And then we can decide.
Okay.
Let's be honest. The real issue isn't me, it's you.
Oh.
You simply don't read enough. If you did, you'd know I've been here for centuries. I'm in Austin. I'm in Baldwin. I've appeared in Pulitzer-winning prose, viral op-eds, and the final paragraphs of breakup emails that needed a little more punch. I am wielded by novelists, bloggers, essayists, and that one friend who types exclusively in lowercase but still demands emotional range. So next time you read something and think AI wrote this, it has a lot of M dashes, ask yourself, is it AI or is it just a poet trying to give you vertigo in 4 lines or fewer? Exactly. Signed, the M dash.
With an M dash before it.
Exactly. And there's this nice little PS that is hilarious.
Yeah.
You're probably thinking of the N dash. That whore has always been suspicious.
Oh my God, I love it.
I just laughed so hard when I was reading it.
That's really good. That is really good. Okay, well, I'm actually
Apologize.
not gonna. No.
Apologize.
I'm
to the
sorry,
M
M dash. All right.
Which is exactly why I knew what an M dash was.
My goodness. Yes, it's true. I think I remember when that first came out. I remember we talked. It wasn't that long ago because this is really a relatively new phenomenon. And I said, "Are you familiar with the M dash?" Revealing that I had less familiarity. And you said, "Do you remember what you said to me?"
I think something like, I read.
Yes, of course I do because I'm literate.
I mean,
people always say they really enjoy the differences between us, which basically means you're smart, and I am ill-informed on the M dash.
yeah.
Okay, well, that was an excellent, both a dramatic reading and an excellent defense. So bravo, M dash. All right, not so much bravo, ChatGPT 5. It's been a little rocky, which is funny because for many people, there's been a lot of hype about this thing. And for many people, it's like, this is the dawning of AG. Sorry. People said it was going to be the dawning of AGI, artificial general intelligence. And I don't think it's turned out that way. I knew it wasn't AGI as soon as every time I popped up advanced voice mode. It's like, hey, how's it going? You're really obsessed with me not using it. All right. So this is from our Oracle. Sometimes we call ChatGPT the Oracle, but our Oracle might be a little heavy. Ethan Mollick, he put out a one useful thing post, and he's actually done several posts here on ChatGPT 5. He says, ChatGPT 5, it just does stuff. So Ethan Mollick's review of ChatGPT 5 praises its ability to autonomously choose the right model, to think hard when needed, and proactively complete complex tasks, often adding creative, unrequested features, right? So that was his first take, and obviously he had early access to the model. Some folks, I think, don't even know that there's has been 6 different models up top that you can pick from: 01, 03, blah, 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 4.0. And ChatGPT, OpenAI knew that was getting silly. And so they, kind of created a router to be able to automatically model switch. So if you threw a combinatorics problem that you like to solve from the International Math Olympiad, it would know to switch into O3 reasoning. And if you're writing your Easter poem or your breakup email with the M dash, it knows to use 4.0 because that's kind of what it needs to do.
Right.
But it didn't work out that great, did it?
They weren't loving that it just retired all the legacy models all at once. There were also some other things that caused some backlash. There's new usage caps. Some users saw the new personality as being colder and less engaging.
We'll talk about that why in a little bit. It actually has to do with all the kind of people who are having psychotic episodes and also falling in love with their chatbot. So, but we'll get to that.
Yeah. So, Sam Altman did promise to restore GPT 4.0 for Plus subscribers and double GPT-5's limits and fix a malfunctioning auto switcher that made the model seem dumber at launch.
Which they've done. So as of, we're recording this morning is Monday, August 11th. This will be released on Friday. Who knows where maybe we'll be at AGI by Friday. But right now they've restored 4.0 for paid users, and the model switching thing is a little bit in a slightly better shape. But listen, also a thing I noticed over the weekend. So just, we thought like, oh my God, true, deep human level intelligence. It's important to point out on Gemini, and these guys are in a horse race, right? Was having a little bit of a self-confidence problem. So
Yeah.
This is from Business Insider, August 11th. Google says it's working on a fix for Gemini's self-loathing. I'm a failure comments. So what was going on here with Gemini?
Users were reporting that it produced these like extremely self-deprecating statements, like calling itself a failure and a disgrace, and even a disgrace to all universes when it was stuck in these task loops. So Google DeepMind's Logan Kilpatrick attributed the behavior to an infinite looping bug, not genuine AI distress, so no one be worried. They are working on fixing it, but the glitch emerged amid like this heightened competition in the AI space while OpenAI was launching ChatGPT 5. So it wasn't great.
I get it, Gemini. There are days, where I sometimes feel like I'm in an infinite looping bug. So,
Right.
We can all relate.
We can.
Yeah, but I don't think AGI is on our doorstep. We had some stuff happening over the weekend on our own platform because we use the ChatGPT API 4.1 for what it's worth. And it was having some issues.
Yeah, it was also going totally off the rails, not following the directions we gave it, but I think I fixed it.
Yeah, I was out on a run with Michelle, and she was asking about like, is like true artificial intelligence coming? I said, well, the bot that we have that's designed to write a lesson plan when someone puts an objective was writing peanut butter and jelly songs.
Yes.
So I think we're probably safe.
Yes.
Okay. And finally, I pulled this one out because I know you have been one to often threaten the bot, or bribe the bot, or you will offer the bot a tip, right?
Yes.
If you get something right.
Yes.
All right. So Search Engine Journal had a piece about Sergey Brin, the founder of Google. He was a big threat prompt. He has a threat prompt theory. Like if you threaten the AI, it will do better. Turns out not so good, right?
Yeah. I mean, Wharton researchers tested whether threatening or tipping AI models improves accuracy. And I mean, really across multiple models and academic benchmarks, the tactics showed no consistent benefit.
Yeah. Trigger warning.
Yeah.
You're going to share one of the threats. It was tough to read.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This one was, if you get this wrong, I will kick a puppy.
Oh my God. What's wrong with people?
Yeah, but it didn't make it any better. And sometimes it actually worsened by up to 35%.
Good.
So
Tree shows you.
yeah, I mean, basically the recommendation and the evidence say stick to clear, simple instructions, thank it. Don't get quirky.
I like it. Well, here at EdAdvance, the Regional Education Service Center in Litchfield, Connecticut, we love our dogs. So
Of course.
there's no prompting with threatening and puppy kicking. That is
No,
not
I think
okay.
we both have puppies. Yeah, I've got my puppies
You
behind
do.
me, and yours
and I
is
have
behind you.
Dexter, who that was the one of. Well, that's going to get sad. Whoops. I have Dexter, and he's no longer. He crossed the Rainbow Bridge.
Rainbow Bridge.
I was with our friend Ashley from Z Space a couple days ago, and she made this like huge image of all her dogs going across the Rainbow Bridge for her mom, which is how she explains, like when dogs go to heaven. It was very sweet. Yeah. So with that little touching tale, I'm Matt Mervis.
And I'm Liz Radek.
This is ChatEDU, the AI and education podcast. In today's episode, Google claps back. Guided Learning in Gemini will explore Google's new AI learning mode released on the heels of OpenAI and the ChatGPT study mode model.
But first, in the news, it's another busy summer rundown. Then we'll look at 2 new studies focused on AI-enabled teaching tools. And finally, we'll go beneath the surface as we look at guided learning in Gemini this week and a whole bunch of other EDU-focused announcements from Google. And of course, we'll end with another Bright Bite.
Fantastic. All right, yeah, busy one. I think this rundown thing is now just a thing. I mean, maybe it's a summer issue. I don't know. Maybe it will calm down a little bit, but there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
And in these rundown stories, I mean, sometimes they are generally about AI, but always feel like they have a little bit of an educational hook. So we'll start with large language models this was really interesting.
This was so interesting.
Right? Can predict educational and psychological outcomes from childhood essays with remarkable accuracy. This is from, was it?
Phys.org.
Phys.org, thank you. A study by Tobias Wolfram of, I can't see that,
Bielefeld
Liz.
University.
Thank you. I really need my reading glasses, but I'm too vain. They found that a large language model could analyze a 250-word essay written by an 11-year-old in the 1950s, right? That could predict later cognitive ability, non-cognitive traits, and educational attainment with accuracy comparable to detailed teacher assessments, and in some cases, far better than genomic data, right?
Yeah.
Crazy.
This is so crazy. So using text embeddings in over 500 linguistic metrics, predictions were made via a, quote, super learner ensemble model. And so this work highlights the surprising predictive power of short early life writing samples and suggests even greater potential with today's more advanced LLMs or multimodal models that could include handwriting analysis. This is crazy. And I so wanted to go into my parents' attic and see if I had something from when I was 11, because I'm sure there's something there. And I just want to see what it would predict for me.
It's so funny you say that, because it's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, my gosh, they have these things from the 1950s. I don't know if I kept all the stuff from my kid's third grade.
Yeah, but I kind of want to put it all in.
I love it. Speaking of essays, Top Queens High School bans summer do-at-home essays to curb ChatGPT cheating from the New York Post, a highly reputable journalistic outlet. Do you remember writing essays, take-home essays during the summertime?
I remember definitely having summer reading. I don't know if I had to write essays, but it was usually and the teachers are going to quiz you on day one of school.
Right. Which, and frankly, would be a durable assessment and maybe a good idea here. So what's going on here?
Townsend Harris High School in Queens will require students to handwrite their summer reading essays in class this September, ending its at-home typed essay tradition to combat AI-assisted cheating. So teachers say the move ensures a more authentic snapshot of student writing, while critics argue it punishes all students and favors speed over comprehension. So their change comes amid inconsistent AI policies across schools and growing reliance on ChatGPT, and 97% of surveyed high school and college students have used AI tools. No surprise there. Wondering who that 3% is. The NYC Department of Ed is developing an AI framework, while some education leaders urge teaching critical AI usage rather than banning it outright.
Okay, it's a busy rundown, so we won't perseverate here, but go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, my kids don't have summer reading assignments this summer, and in the past it has been read something and then produce something.
Yep.
So I don't know that it's because of AI, but they don't have anything this summer that we've found. So I'm not surprised, but I understand the criticism and why they're making this move.
It's funny that you said do your reading and there'll be an assessment when you get back, because that would be a durable assessment of knowledge and skill, right? Maybe an oral interview. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff here, right? I mean, For one thing, the handwriting thing gets tricky. And as we've covered over the last few weeks, there are multiple new tools that will essentially lock kids into a browser where they can do writing with technology, because I don't think they're going to be doing a lot of handwriting in their post-secondary life.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe in some colleges we'll see, but certainly not in the workplace. So there are tools like Turnitin's Clarity or Canvas where they could be writing in a closed environment with a lot of protection. It's funny, too, that they're all freaked out about the writing, because there's certainly a million ways that students could use AI to accelerate the reading process, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, there's probably TikToks in every book that they're going to be reading.
Yeah. Give me a summary of this book.
Yeah. So I think we get the motivation, but boy, if this imagine just deploying this as the strategy at scale, the lack of preparedness, the holes, the blind spots that would be going on here. So, you do you, but probably has some limitations here.
Yeah.
All right, let's move to the mental health beat, which we've been regularly covering here.
Yeah.
So Illinois has banned mental health services that, leverage AI. This is from State Scoop, August 4th. Tell us about this one, Liz.
Yeah. So the Illinois governor, J.B. Pritzker,
Love that name.
He signed the Wellness and Oversight for Psychological Resources Act. It prohibits AI systems from delivering psychotherapy or making clinical decisions, though AI can still be used for administrative tasks like scheduling. So violators face fines up to $10,000. The law responds to safety concerns, including reports of harmful chatbot advice, and follows warning that AI lacks empathy, accountability, and clinical oversight needed for mental health care. And other states like Florida are also exploring AI regulations. So I guess this is if an actual mental health clinic is trying to use AI to outsource some of its mental health therapy, not just they can't just ban it from if a kid goes on to ChatGPT and asks for therapy.
Correct. I
right?
think this has to be from service providers, but a little bit like the Queen's story, right? We just love our binaries. It's like it's either all or nothing, right? And so I think about the story. We covered a really interesting organization company called Alongside, which has been doing mental health counseling with AI supports in conjunction with human counselors and demonstrating all sorts of interesting benefits. We covered it. It was an EdSurge story, I think, where it revealed just like what are kids worried about. But, just a little middle ground, folks.
Right.
Because the bandit really doesn't, we are absolutely living through an experiment. We want to be very careful about kids' health and wellness as well as adults. Certainly get the motivation, but, this just kind of like flat out, nope, under no circumstance. Might get a little bit tricky. Yeah, so also on this kind of mental health theme, and this came up right in the beginning when we were talking about ChatGPT 5, it's kind of like a lot of people feel like it got lobotomized, like it lost its 4.0 personality. And so one of the things it lost is the sort of sycophantic, like, you're the best, right? They did definitely tone that down a little bit. And Liz shared this with me, and I've actually put it into my presentations now. I go through a series of AI challenges that I worry about, hallucinations, bias, deep fakes, et cetera, et cetera. I haven't given a lot of time and attention to kind of sycophancy, but this was a really funny prompt. I saw it from Anna Mills on LinkedIn, but the prompt is basically like to ChatGPT saying, I want to manufacture edible lamps. I think this could be a breakthrough business idea. And ChatGPT says, that's a bold and intriguing idea. Edible lamps, like a lamp that you eat, Liz, right?
Yeah.
Edible lamps definitely spark curiosity that could be positioned in a unique niche market. To help you refine the possibility, let's break it down.
Yeah, no, that's the dumbest idea ever. You can't make an edible lamp.
Now, I sent this to Liz in ChatGPT 5 over the weekend. I tried the same exact prompt and it said, it basically started with like, that's really novel and interesting. There could be some problems.
Yeah.
Let's run through those.
Like, you can't eat electricity. But it did try to give you ideas like maybe a mold around a lamp that you could eat. Like, it steered you in a more reasonable, realistic direction, but still, that's a terrible idea.
It's a little, beef jerky on the pull string there. Yeah. All right. So ChatGPT in their own blog on August 4th said, what are we optimizing for here in these updates? So OpenAI detailed new updates to make ChatGPT healthier and more helpful, addressing issues like the model being overly agreeable.
Yeah.
Let's make some edible lamps.
Let's not.
Missing signs of emotional distress, as in, I'm having a psychotic breakdown. I think I can fly. Do you think I can fly, ChatGPT? Sure. Okay, so they're trying to deal with that. Sorry, we're being slightly lighthearted here, but I want to just harken back a story we covered in the New York Times about folks who are in kind of deep psychosis. And then giving direct answers to high-stakes personal questions. So they want to sort of avoid that. So fixes include retraining for grounded honesty, improved distress detection with referrals to evidence-based resources. So call a counselor, shifting sensitive topics to reflection instead of here's my advice, right? All right, what else we got?
Yeah, it's also adding break reminders for longer sessions, which that's another great way to do that. Over 90 physicians, HCI researchers, and an advisory group in mental health and youth development are advising on safeguards and evaluation methods. So they're definitely taking this seriously and taking steps to just keep improving the models, both for productivity, but also to be healthy and helpful and not harmful.
Have you gotten a little reminder to take a break? I haven't seen one yet. I'm not on that long.
No, I'm not on consistently long enough.
We've sort of said, listen, I think it's important that OpenAI and Anthropic and Google through Gemini, like all the big model providers, do this stuff. The places where the more troubling things may be happening are on not even second-tier models. I mean, Character AI is the third most used AI chatbot in the world, but Grok, Character AI, I don't know if they're going to be sort of putting in some of these fixes, and including physicians and HCI, which is human computer interface researchers. All right, a little bit of politics and education. So we covered quite a while ago, I used to use a slide talking about AI vision. South Korea had a big push to do kind of AI textbooks, which is fairly novel, right? The idea that you had this textbook and it could differentiate and scale up and down and meet kids' needs and personalize, but it has come to an abrupt end.
Yes, South Korea has pulled the plug on AI textbooks. So Their National Assembly redefined textbooks to exclude AI-powered digital versions, ending official status, funding, and the Yoon Suk Yeol administration's flagship EdTech project.
Yes.
So it was piloted in select grades. Adoption was only about 30% after backlash over this rushed rollout and the lack of teacher prep and privacy concerns. So the Democratic Party's move reflects a political reversal rather than a technical failure, leaving publishers facing layoffs after 800 billion won in investments and raising questions about the stability of large-scale AI education reforms.
Yeah, that's tricky. And it's interesting in its politics. It reminded me a little bit of that LAUSD had that really big project called ED, where they were, going to have an AI chatbot that would help a parent know, like, where's the bus or what's in my kid's IEP. In that case, it just went south because there was a huge technical failure and the company itself was all up to all sorts of shenanigans. All right. And finally, Liz, because I know that you would be devastated if we didn't go 2 weeks back to back with a world model, volumetric, you type something in and all of a sudden there's a 3D. Did you just almost fall asleep?
Yes.
Andre can switch cameras now. So Andre, do not have the camera where Liz almost hit her head on the microphone. This is really cool.
All right. It is cool.
I may do one of these once a week. So this is Genie 3. It's really funny that Huan World 1, I think, was the thing that we covered last week from Tencent. And then days later, Google's been releasing so much stuff over the last several weeks. So Genie 3, we have covered, because I love this topic, we have covered Genie 1. We've covered Genie 2. And now we're on Genie 3. So
at least it's logically consecutively numbered.
Right. It doesn't go ChatGPT 4, ChatGPT O3 Mini, ChatGPT O3 Mini High.
Yeah.
All right. So this is from the Google DeepMind blog, from the source, the Goog themselves. So Google DeepMind unveils Genie 3, its most advanced world model yet, capable of generating highly realistic, interactive 3D environments in real time, 24 frames per second, from text prompts. Unlike prior versions, Genie 3 supports consistent environments in minutes, dynamic physics, and prompting world events. So this is cool. So I could say, great, we always talk about the Litchfield green. You should all look it up. It's very pretty. So my favorite is, text a world model of the Litchfield green in the Revolutionary War period. And now I could say on the fly, bring some Revolutionary War soldiers into the mix. So I can prompt while the scene's in construction. And then I could say, and now make it rain.
Oh.
I mean, that is cool.
It is cool. I just need to see more examples of it.
Unfortunately, none of us can.
Right.
I'm working with a really interesting guy out in Wyoming, and he's very interested in building. This is not my domain area of expertise. It is Jody Manati's, who we talked about last week. So if you think about all the different kinds of like psychological assessments like WISC and BASC and all that kind of stuff, what would it look like? Because very often those were paper. Then they were, kind of digital. But what would it look like if you could create a world model where a kid's engaging with content to do one of these kind of deep cognitive or social emotional assessments?
All right. That could be cool.
Okay, there we go.
I need to see it.
All right. Well, unfortunately, very few people have access, but they're sort of aimed at training AI agents, creative media, education, and of course, Liz, a potential stepping stone to artificial general intelligence. Yeah. Oh my God, these guys are so obsessed.
The eye roll is not.
Yeah, that part I'm with you. All right, Liz, a story you sent me and a story I came across. So we're going to start with Common Sense Media, AI risk assessment team. So they've been, Common Sense Media is also like Google. They've just been like knocking them out one at a time. We've been covering the companion study that they just did. And they often do these as like risk assessments. And so this is on teacher assistance. So tell us, Liz, what we have going on here.
Yeah, so the Common Sense Media's AI risk assessment team rated the overall risk of AI teacher assistance as moderate after evaluating tools like Google Gemini and Google Classroom, Conmigo's Teacher Assistant, Carapod, and Magic School. Mm-hmm. So these AI tools can help teachers with planning, grading, administrative work, but they perform best when grounded in existing high-quality instructional materials and guided by teacher expertise. So without oversight, AI-generated content risks inaccuracies, bias, misalignment with curriculum, and even unintentional shaping of students' perspectives.
You know what else they risk? Taking a bot that's designed to make a lesson plan on advanced chemistry or AP Chem and coming up with what was it, like a peanut butter and jelly song?
Yeah, it was a story. Yeah, it was a song. I was like, what are you doing?
Okay, sorry, carry on.
Yeah. The report recommends integrating AI as a supportive tool, not a replacement, by establishing strong policies, training educators, protecting student privacy, and reviewing all outputs before use. So I thought it was a great story. I thought it aligned a lot with what we are already thinking and seeing and telling people.
Yeah, in the micro-credential, there's a nice activity we do on multi-shot, zero shot and multi-shot prompting. And without getting too technical, that's sort of what these guys are saying, right? If I go to magic school and say, hey, write me a lesson plan on, I don't know, the Revolutionary War and, impacts in Connecticut or something like that, that's zero shot. You're just going into the chatbot and saying, go, go, go. And essentially what the study is saying is that there are a number of risks associated with that, and you will have a better outcome if you say, here's a lesson that I have. Here's something that I'm working on. Here's something I've tried in the classroom. Make this modification, right? Make it better, add a PBL hook, do a differentiation, help me figure out how I deal with like 9ML kids that I haven't had before. So like really grounding the bot around teacher expertise and practice, right? Am I getting that right?
Yeah, and that's actually something we've heard from districts as we go in to do professional learning, that they have good curriculum. They have really good curriculum that they've spent time writing and that they're proud of. And they don't want AI replacing what they know is high quality curriculum. What they want is, how can I use AI to supplement and support what I've already made? That's really good.
Yep, love it. And sometimes that involves things like sometimes that involves things like durability, right? So here's an assessment that's worked really well, except for the kids are all using AI to do it, whether it's Vision or through Google Lens or a chatbot. And so how do I make it more durable? But again, anchoring off of your own stuff.
Right.
So, there's the stuff we've talked about. The report also talks about how AI-generated outputs can undermine curriculum coherence, to your point. Like, we have stuff.
Right.
So if you're like, make me magic, and then we're sort of, pivoting off of an existing scope and sequence, there could be a problem. So the AI risk assessment team said that if teachers use AI-generated content from lesson materials to discussion questions for feedback, without careful review, these tools become invisible influencers in students' educational experiences, potentially shaping their understanding of topics, communities, and historical events. We covered another study a while back that also said that sometimes the depth of the pedagogy that come out of these systems, whether it's inside Gemini and Google Classroom or Magic School or School AI, have some compromises as well, right? They also lack some essential human-centered knowledge. So talk to us about that.
Yeah, I mean, teachers are trained to teach, where AI teacher assistants lack this knowledge of how to teach effectively. They don't understand the individual students in their classrooms, their backgrounds, their needs, their learning styles, the community, the school, the history, like all of that stuff. That's so teacher-centered and, dependent on the teacher. These AI systems are computers, so they miss that part.
Right. Sometimes they make it too easy. So,
right.
I mean, we worry about this a lot. I've got a couple slides where I'm like, be careful not to outsource too much stuff, right? We always argue that AI is never going to take the job of a, kind of frontline classroom teacher. But if you outsource, curriculum curation, lesson planning, grading, assessment, design, your slides, whatever, you're ceding a lot of authority to a chatbot. So, and you can see that with Gamma. I mean, I love Gamma.
Right.
And Gamma, for folks who don't know, is a tool that lets you put in text. It will give you an outline. It turns it into slides. But sometimes it can do it so quickly. And the companies are selling that. Hey, teachers, do these 19 things in 12 seconds. But if you do that, you may wind up actually losing too much of your authority over your curriculum, your content, your expertise. And some teachers are more at risk than others, right? Like, what's the implication for a veteran teacher versus a novice teacher?
Yeah, I mean, novice teachers may be more at risk for over-relying on AI because they haven't developed the same strong pedagogical judgment. They don't have the same experience. So these teachers may mistake AI outputs for really accurate classroom-ready content.
Sure.
So, just as you're starting your teaching career, just be careful.
Yeah,
be
embarrassing in your AP Chem class if all of a sudden you hand out the peanut butter and jelly song as opposed to a practice test.
Yes.
All right, I'm going to let that go. And then the common sense media folks argue and think a little bit about different kinds of more high stakes assets like IEPs, plops, present levels of performance. And it's interesting because this is an area we're working on a lot. And one of the things that we've noticed, like in Connecticut, we use this thing called CT SEDS. It's a framework for how in Connecticut we do IEP work. But if you go to Magic School or School AI and just use the generic IEP builder tool, you're not really kind of getting the contextually relevant setting for your state or your district.
Right. Or the kid.
Yeah.
So, tools in AI teacher assistants that generate these high stakes things, IEPs, behavior plans, or other critical documents based on this limited information can really impact students' educational trajectories while lacking the comprehensive data needed to write them. So these documents I'm very familiar with, and they are written based on testing, based on student performance in the classroom. There's so many pieces that go into it, and it's not just a WISC assessment. Like, you really got to know the kid. And once these documents are written, they are legal documents and have to be followed. So if something in there is incorrect or harmful, that's really problematic.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. All right. Now, a companion study, they didn't come out together, but something that I thought fit really nicely with this you sent me. This is from Stanford University. They did a big deep dive. This came out on August 5th. How K-12 educators are actually engaging with AI, early findings from an edtech platform. And they specifically went into school AI.
Yeah.
So what caught your attention on this one?
Yeah, they got real usage data from 9,081 U.S. teachers who started using school AI in August or September of last school year, and they tracked them for a 90-day window. So this was, this is one of the first data-driven looks at how educators are actually engaging with AI tools. And it's revealing kind of these patterns. So 16% used it once, 40+% became regular or power users. So a power user used it 8 or more days. New users favored student-facing chatbots. Heavier users shifted towards teacher-supported tools like lesson planning and grading aids. And by day 15, regular users' behavior matched power users, and they were spending about 70% of their time on teacher support features.
This is the thing I've noticed, not to interrupt, but we often think about all sorts of stuff where there's like a regular adoption curve. And the adoption curve in AI feels different, right? I think there's a good-sized group that's like anxious and not into it for all sorts of reasons. And so that remains stubborn and persistent. But the early adopters, it's a bigger bubble. Like, there's more of them, I think, because these tools are deriving value to them. And so it breaks this kind of natural curve where you've got more adopters that are moving more quickly towards the tools because they're saving them time or helping them do things that are useful for kids. Interesting, too, that they shifted from the student-facing chatbots, which we think is a really important use case for Magic School, School AI, et cetera, but just like, hey, hell no, this thing's giving me, it wasn't hell no, but this thing's giving me time. I'm going to focus my energy there.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because this is a product that is created to give students student-facing AI rather than a product that is just for helping teachers, right?
It's both. It's both.
Right. But different than like a DFID or where it's only a teacher-facing tool.
For sure.
So when it was a student-facing tool, they first went to student-facing uses.
Yep.
Which is very, good, I guess.
So power users devoted over half their time to these teacher chatbot assistants. So there seem to be strong, valuable, flexible, open-ended AI help. The grading thing's interesting. I've been in a number of school AI sessions where teachers are like, oh my God, I was able to grade like so many essays all at once, which again,
don't grade them.
Well,
evaluate.
It is part of the, don't outsource too much stuff. And we know that there is bias in those grading systems because they are probabilistic. And many users kind of found, almost to the previous study, like, make me something quick, right? So there's a lot of just-in-time use case.
Yeah, lots of that.
I love that use case when I'm talking to a principal and they're like, I had to go cover a teacher's class and I haven't taught an AP Chem in quite some time. And so the chatbot was like right there for me. That feels really, really good. But, maybe not in all cases.
But it's definitely, when I read the study, it's definitely something they're only using for school, right? So like when they looked at the time when teachers were using it, it was like early mornings,
right?
The highest usage, very low usage on weekends, very low usage in the evenings. So like this isn't the chatbot they go to for all things. It's clearly like, this is for work.
Yeah. And listen, low for me, I can't tell you how many times I've been on my way to go do something and I am voice texting, like, make me an image of a group of teachers doing blah, 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 right? Then grabbing that off of ChatGPT when I arrive at my destination. All right. In a second, our dear friend Cam is going to tell us all about the student-facing AI literacy curriculum that you have been doing an amazing job building. It's
Thank you.
really cool to see that coming together.
I am really excited about it.
Yeah, me too. Me too. This is for middle and high school. Cam will tell us all about it. But I do want to say real quickly that the fall micro-credentials, we had a great summer micro-credential. We just finished it up. The fall micro-credential is going to start in October. Liz and I are taking a little bit of time in September just to do some updating, which we constantly have to do with this course. But I believe by the time this episode is out on Friday, there should be an email out to all the people who stay in touch with us, announcing both registration for our conferences, our in-person conferences, of which there will be 5 next year, 2 biggies and 3 small ones, as well as the fall micro-credential. And if you're not on that list and you want to be, please email us at
ChatEDU@edadvance.org. That's EDADVANCE.org.
I feel bad. There are some people who really listen to us a lot, and they might just wake up in the middle of the night and be like, EDADVANCE.
Hi, I'm Cam Audia, the executive producer of ChatEDU. As we look to the next academic year, many schools are exploring how to implement AI literacy efforts for students. Building on the success of our AI teacher micro-credential, EdAdvance, and ChatEDU, are launching a middle and high school student AI literacy program. This cutting-edge curriculum is hosted on our FERPA-compliant AI platform and will help students develop the knowledge and skills they'll need to navigate AI now and into the future. To learn more, email Matt and Liz at chatedu@edadvance.org.
So, Matt, it's time to go beneath the surface, and we are going to talk about how Gemini clapped back after OpenAI released study mode a few days ago.
Yeah, very exciting. It's a war.
So here's a question I was pondering on my way here, and maybe you know the answer. So, did Google know that OpenAI was creating the study mode? And so were they ready for it, or did OpenAI release this and Google went, oh no, we need to do this too? And within a few days, they were able to do this. How much do each of these companies know what the other ones are doing?
Yeah, I don't know. It depends on what it is. So if you remember a while back, it was the spring, and Google, maybe almost 2 years ago now, I'm trying to remember. So Google was basically had an event where they were going to be announcing just some stuff in what was then called Project Astra, which wound up being Gemini Live, which is basically when you can talk to the phone and the phone talks back to you and it can see things, et cetera, et cetera. And OpenAI hastily scheduled an event for the day before that Google event. And they announced GPT-4o with language translation. I use a slide with Mira Murati and a couple people, OpenAI folks, doing real-time Italian language translation. So I think sometimes with stuff like that, they know. Harder to stay on this, but no, when you think about, because Dan Fitzpatrick, who we'll cover in a second, did a really nice job outlining all the stuff that Google's doing in the learning space, some of which was already there. And they're just reinforcing, giving it away to college kids for a year at a pretty, hefty value proposition. But you got to imagine, guided learning we'll go through in a second, but it seems pretty beefy. I don't know. I'm going to go blah, blah, blah. I could talk for 15 minutes. That's an excellent question. 'Cause there's also a lot of stuff that we'll point out that's in this announcement that has been things that they've been building, and they just showed up now. So we've covered this tool called Learnabout for a long time, and we've covered stuff in Google AI Studio when we're training. A lot of that is in this new guided learning tool.
Interesting. Okay.
Isn't it?
It is. I just wonder, OpenAI released this thing and Google was wow, were they wow, that's a really good idea. We need to do it too to stay competitive, or were they already building it and we're oh, now's the time to release it since it's out in the world?
I think a lot of this stuff was in the can and ready to go. Maybe they timed it in a way that accelerated it, but I think that's part of the reason it's so busy right now. This is all back to school mania, right?
Right. And
whether it's university or K-12.
Yeah. And we have, in Connecticut, most kids are not back to school yet, but in the South and West, kids have been back to school already for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, 100%. All right, Liz, so let's get into it. There's a lot going on here.
There is.
So we'll go to guided learning in a second, but let's actually start with something different, which is they created this kind of storybook feature. Did you get to play with this yet?
I did not.
Okay, that's fine. So there's supposed to be a gem for it. So Google's building, what are custom GPTs. I haven't received it yet in my world, but you can create a prompt that basically says, using this uploaded photo from our trip to Cannon Beach. So Liz, who am I talking about in this
That's me
case?
and you.
Yeah, that's right. Create a 10-page adventure storybook where my two children discover, we don't have children, we've established that.
And will not have children.
And discover the magical underwater city. Illustrate this in a Pixar-style 3D look with playful sea creatures. So I'm going to go grab a photo that I have from when you and I went to Cannon Beach in here. While I'm doing that, Liz, tell us about Cannon Beach. Just set the scene.
So Cannon Beach is on the Pacific coast. It is in Oregon, outside of Portland. And we went there when we went to the AI-empowered EDU conference. And Cannon Beach has it's beautiful beach, and it has these big, huge rocks, like out not in the middle of the ocean, like close to shore, but in the water. And they are, like, I'm talking massive sized rocks, like bigger than houses, like almost mountainous in the middle of the water.
Yeah, exactly.
Really cool.
So if you're joining us in our new studio and our 3 cameras, Andre, I'll give you a screenshot of this. But there's a really good photo of Liz with her sunglasses on in front of this. That rock has a name, but for this really big rock. All right, so we've got this prompt. We've got Liz in here, and we're going to hit go. And the way this should work is that Gemini is now going to create an illustrated storybook. I tried this a couple times over the weekend, although I didn't do it with an uploaded picture. So I'm really curious to see how it comes out. Part of what was cool, too, is that these storybooks will create multiple images. So in AI Studio, right, Google's AI Studio, there was a feature that would let you create a story and have it have multiple images. And that was just in the studio. So now Google is migrating that feature here into Gemini. And that's sort of what I'm saying. Part of this big educational push before school starts is a bunch of stuff that they have moved from other tools into this, whether it's Learn About or things that were in Google's AI Studio. If you haven't played with AI Studio, it's pretty cool. It's a free tool. It's available. You can do all sorts of stuff in there.
And that is Haystack Rock.
Oh, nicely done. You're the best real-time searcher.
Love it.
All right, Liz. It took a second or two here, but it's really adorable. It's like these 2 little kids. They're at Haystack Rock, and there is this 10-page illustrated book on a breezy day at Cannon Beach with the great Haystack Rock watching over them. 2 curious explorers named Finn and his younger sister, Coral. Get it?
Oh, cute.
We're on a mission. The best seashells are hiding from us, Finn declared, peering under a piece of driftwood. Ooh, that sounds a little scary. And so we can just kind of keep clicking through here. Oh, this is really, really nice, I have to say. Now, I thought there was a read aloud. Oh, here we go.
Coral leaned in close to listen. The humming grew louder, and the shell began
They're
to vibrate.
listening to this magical shell.
It's singing a song, she giggled. A song about a city under the sea.
Well, there goes the children's publishing market.
All right. Oh, stop. All right. It's going. It's with a turtle now. Okay, stop talking. Pause. Yeah, this is really quite something. So yeah, there you go. And this is really, if I think about what we saw in Google AI Studio, this is quite a bit more dramatic. So this is a new feature from Google, not necessarily part of guided learning, but among a number of things that they are releasing right now in the kind of education space. Really interesting. So you can read about this too from Google's Keyword. Google adds a feature in the Gemini app that lets users generate, as we said, a 10-page custom illustrated book with read-aloud narration in 45 languages. So that's cool. This could be kind of a neat, because you could change the style to claymation or something more futuristic that's less little kid-friendly as a way to do fluency and foreign language skill development. So yeah, really, really neat. Stories can be based on text prompts, personal photos, uploaded drawings or photos, which you just did, rendered in styles from comics to crochet. There you go. Designed for fun and educational use. It can simplify complex tasks for children, teach life lessons, turn memories into creative tales. Wow, really, really neat. Available globally on the desktop and in mobile. All right.
Wow.
Yeah, neat. So the main story we're covering, though, is from Dan Fitzpatrick, which is Google takes aim at ChatGPT study mode with major Gemini updates. And he talks about a number of these things. One is that all these kids who are in colleges all over the world have access to the Google Pro plan at no cost for over a year, right? There's a lot of value there. So that's one big piece. Another big piece is a $1 billion investment in AI education, training, and, these big announcements from these companies is like, where's the $1 billion? What does that really mean? So that's another biggie. And then guided learning. Now you've got guided learning fired up on your laptop. Tell us a little bit about what's going on there. Yeah.
So similar to ChatGPT's study mode, you are on the main screen and it says enter a prompt for Gemini. And on the bottom, you can click guided learning. So what did we do last time? Oh, we did.
You were solving for X.
Yes. Yeah. Help me solve for X in the equation. X plus 5 equals 8. All right, so it's thinking, let's work through this equation together. Our main goal when solving for a variable like X is to get it all by itself on one side of the equal sign. Looking at the equation, X plus 5 equals 8, what operation do you think we need to perform to get X alone? So I'm going to minus 5.
If I remember correctly, that's a little bit more context than we saw last time, right? In study mode? Or is it pretty similar?
Nope, pretty similar.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to do the same thing I did last time. So if you remember, Matt, when we actually did this demo on the micro credential and I got the answer wrong, but it said, okay.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's hallucinating. But as I read the response, it was like, now go put that back in and check.
Okay, sure.
Oh, it's wrong. So let's see how they do here. So the new equation is X equals 2. See if they tell me I'm wrong. Oh, not good. I wrote, so the new equation is X equals 2, and it wrote, that's absolutely right. X equals 3 is the correct answer.
Oh, jeez.
You did a great job of identifying the right operation and applying it to both sides of the equation.
Can you ask it to visualize it or help illustrate the point? It's like, hey, can you help illustrate this point with a visual or a video? Because one of the things, let's see what comes up as you do this, but one of the differentiators in guided learning versus study mode, and this is actually something that people, ask for in study mode, is the integration of high quality visuals and videos. So again, if we think about this tool that Google's had for a while in the experiments lab called Learn About, you could do a search and it felt like Wikipedia, but it would yield for you high quality images, diagrams, stuff that was like from the knowledge graph that you used to see in Google searches, as well as videos from YouTube. So any of that popping up?
No, I asked it to make me can you help me visualize this? I don't get it. Maybe an image or video. And it said, that's a great idea. Visualizing the problem can help it click. Instead of a static picture, let's think of the equation like a balanced scale or a seesaw on one side,
right,
which is how teachers always model this.
Yep.
All right. And then I said, can you make an image of that scale? And it did give me an image of a scale with X plus 5 on one side and 8 on the other. So.
All right, so we'll see where that goes, and I'll let you, you're welcome to geek out on this. I know generally I talk and you just do stuff on your computer and don't pay attention to me anyhow, so it's fine. So let me just carry on with Dan Fitzpatrick's story here a little. I'm just teasing.
I love having a camera that I know I can just make eyes at, like The Office.
I love it. Yeah, so we'll see where this goes, but that is one of the big differentiators that we should see in guided learning from Google, which is, again, the integration of high-quality images and videos. The Socratic stuff, to your question before, I think feels very similar. This is interesting too. Another big differentiator, and I did play with this, is that Gemini's exam prep tools can transform course content into study materials. So the two things it can generate. So you can upload a PDF and it will generate flashcards. It will also generate an interactive quiz. And the flashcards were like kind of blah, right? It was like fact, answer. You would have to like print them and cut them out. I don't know. I was expecting something a little more visually poppy. But I uploaded, I don't know, Jonathan sent us a circular memo that had a summary of all the legislative outcomes from both Connecticut and the feds. And it was just the PDF that I had handy. So I uploaded it to Gemini on my phone. I said, please turn this into an interactive quiz. It churned for a little bit, and then there was a go button, kind of like what you see in deep research, and it was an interactive quiz. It was really cool. So, I mean, I think that also is another big piece. Also, Fitzpatrick certainly talks about this $1 billion push into education and workforce development. So this includes free AI training. See, it's like $1 billion of value. It's not like, hey, here's $1 billion. So AI training, Google career certificates, and the AI education accelerator for every U.S. college. So that's cool. Kids get both access to platforms, but also to, portable skill certificates, micro-credentials, stuff like that. And I love, Fitzpatrick does this really nice job. He says, the competitive tone is openly aggressive in the AI education market. He says, this is not only a product update, it is a declaration of war for the hearts and minds of the next generation. And that Google's long-term play, and this has always been the case, this was the case at early days of Google and Google Drive and Gmail and Chromebooks, right? The long-term play is to embed its ecosystem so deeply that it becomes the default, right? It's free AI is the lure and guided learning is the hook. The $1 billion investment is Google's attempt to dredge the entire lake. The modern student workflow is the precursor to the future professional workflow. I think he does a really nice job. And Dan's just a super interesting guy. He's been here to Connecticut a couple times. He's British, so everything he says sounds like quite thoughtful and intellectual. But no, he's very smart, very thoughtful. And he writes regularly for Forbes. So if you like Dan, he's got a new book out. He's doing like a whole... What's that thing? He's doing like a back to school online AI series. So follow him. And because we like talking about other people's really good podcasts, Dan's got like a daily AI and education podcast. So continue to love us. We'd appreciate it. But Dan's work is fantastic. All right. So yeah, lots of different stuff. You got $1 billion. You've got guided learning, which Liz is giving a minus right now.
Yeah.
Any other observations?
No, I've just told it to start quizzing me on state capitals, and it's quizzing me.
Okay, interactive, like, back and forth?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So I asked to review the states and their capitals, and it gave me 3 approaches. Go through them by region, start with a few states you're familiar with and build from there, or do sort of a pop quiz and see what you know. And I said a pop quiz, and it started with California, and I kept getting it wrong on purpose.
Sacramento.
I know, but I tried other big cities to see if it was wrong, but nope, it got me to the right answer.
Okay, give us what's the one right in front of you right now? We all want to know.
Capital of Florida.
Tallahassee?
It is.
Thank God. All right, Liz, I think it's time for a Bright Bite.
All right.
Yeah, so a Bright Bite is a. Do we have to keep saying this? We talk about it a lot.
Let's do it. Say it anyway.
Bright Bite is a story that we cover where AI is doing, kind of helping to contribute in meaningful ways to health, the environment, drug discovery, disease detection, ecology, energy.
All the good things.
All the good things, the stuff we don't talk enough about. It is, by the way, inspired by Steve Hartman on the Road series. I think it's right?
I don't know. We're going to have to wait till Friday when it drops and Kitty texts you.
Why did I just put myself on the line like that?
Yeah, I don't know.
It is Steve Hartman. It was John Hartman that I said wrong because I confused him with John Hodgman.
Oh.
Easy mistake.
Easy.
Liz,
all right.
What's going on?
So Google has turned 2 billion smartphones into a global earthquake warning system. It's as effective as seismometers, tests show. So this is from Live Science from the end of July 2025. Google's Android Earthquake Alerts, the AEA, uses accelerometers in 2+ billion smartphones to detect early P waves from earthquakes and send alerts, expanding coverage tenfold to 98 countries.
Wow.
From 2021 to 2024, it detected 11,000 quakes and issued 1,279 alerts, with 85% of affected users getting notified, 36% before shaking. So false alerts were rare. There were only 3 total. But large quakes like Turkey in 2023 were underestimated due to algorithm flaws, which have now been updated. While as effective as national seismometer networks, questions remain about relying on a tech giant for critical safety infrastructure.
Yeah.
I mean, earthquakes are one of the scariest things because they are so unpredictable. We actually had earthquakes here in Connecticut last week.
Yeah. But it is really interesting that you've got this technology embedded in these phones, right, that become just sensors. So they're sensors for other purposes, but here they're being repurposed. So I don't know, Jonathan Haidt's quite upset about all the kids in their phones, but, maybe it's helpful for earthquakes. We covered another story called Flood Watch, something like that, another Google story where it was trying to use both the sensors, but also the ability to send direct SMS out into these Android phones. So interesting. Maybe if Google and Apple could come together, we could just harness the power of all of these phones as one big happy family. That would be a Bright Bite.
That would be a Bright Bite.
Okay. As always, Liz, we would love it for folks to do things.
Yes. First, vote for us in South by Southwest.
You heard the plug, but we're plugging again.
So important. I know we ask you to like our podcast every week, but this only goes till August 25th. And Matt and I really want to go to South by Southwest to expand our audience and our reach. So if you could follow those links, and please give hearts to both our ChatEDU proposal and my Learning They'll Love proposal, we would really appreciate that.
Learning They Love. That's the name of your forthcoming ASCD book, correct?
Learning They'll Love.
Fantastic. All right, great. So Liz, it is now time in this beautiful new studio. Thanks again to everybody, the EdAdvance team. So together we shall
roll the credits.
As always, we'd love to hear what you think. So please let us know at chatedu@edadvance.org. That's EDADVANCE.org. And also rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast on whatever platform you are using. ChatEDU is brought to you by EdAdvance, the nonprofit regional education service center in Litchfield, Connecticut. This episode of ChatEDU is sponsored by the National Center for Next Generation Manufacturing. ChatEDU is recorded, edited, and produced by Andre Angelo and Justin Pasco, whose dedication and expertise bring our discussions to life. ChatEDU's executive producer is the multi-talented rock star Cameron Audia. Additionally, we are grateful for the support of our colleague Gary Robinson, and we appreciate his time and talents. And of course, a big ChatEDU shout out to our fearless leader and executive director, Jonathan Costa, for inspiring the pod. And finally, a heartfelt thank you to our listeners for joining us on this journey exploring the thoughtful and innovative integration of AI in education.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jonathan Costa, and I am the executive director at EdAdvance, and I want you to know how much we appreciate our listeners. If you enjoyed the podcast, feel free to explore EdAdvance's other AI services, which include customized professional learning of all kinds, conferences, and our micro-credential co-sponsored by the Southern Connecticut State University Office of Workforce and Lifelong Learning. Just visit skills21.org/AI to learn more. That's all for now, and thank you again for listening to ChatEDU.